Muy buenos dias. Good morning. I hope you are well and focused on what you can control. My name is Patricia Mota, serving as President and CEO of HACE, the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement, national nonprofit whose mission since 1982 is to positively impact workplaces by cultivating the pipeline of Latinx talents, providing our community the insight, access, and support to be successful in their careers. If this is your first cafecito, welcome. And those that are rejoining us again, welcome back. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. A few things that next week, if you're looking for your next career opportunity, AST is having a recruitment series event for you to sign up. And also our National Executive Leadership Tour. We'll be wrapping up this annual year-round tour that we've had featuring Latino senior leaders, executives across the country, and an opportunity also to wrap up Hispanic Heritage Month. And you can find all this information on our website because we have another great event with our Chicago Auxiliary Board, an annual benefit in person on November 4th in Chicago. And our special guest here this morning will share more information about what that's all about. Drop in the chat where you're tuning in from. We want to hear from you. This is your opportunity to network with one another. Get your questions ready. Buenos días, Jorge. Buenos días a todos que nos están con nosotros this morning. Good morning, good morning. And so Paul Callejas, he is the Community Engagement Associate Director at the Midwest UNICEF and also our Chicago Auxiliary Board. Paul, buenos días.
Buenos días, Patricia. Thank you for having me here today. Super excited to speak more about my story.
Absolutely. We're super excited. And all of us who are rejoining Cafecito con ACE know the drill. Our first question is, how do you like your cafecito or your morning beverage of choice?
Yeah, I actually like my coffee medium roast with honey and almond milk. That is my to-go. Ya lo tengo.
Ya lo tienes. You know, for as long as we've been doing Cafecito, which this is the third season now, believe it or not, it is. I've never had anybody share the type of roast. At least I haven't heard, in terms of medium roast. So that was very specific. And then I think the honey piece too. I don't think we've heard that as well. That's awesome. Let's see. I'm sure maybe others can relate in the chat or in the comment section in terms of adding honey or the specific type of roast. We got a little more specific there. Paul, tell us a little bit more about your background, how you got to your role where you are today, your journey, your ACE journey as well. We'll get to dive a little bit deeper. But one of the things that I love about Cafecito con ACE is we all have our own journeys, our own stories, but especially shining light on Latino leaders. And so tell us about who you are, how you got to your role today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just a kid from the block, I'm a guy who grew up in La Villita in the south side of Chicago. And so I, like most first generation folks, I went to college. I went to college because I made a promise to my mom. Pero no iba a ir. I was not going to go. But through my experience at the university, I was able to really open many doors and really just expand my horizon. I went to school for business, but I make a living in nonprofit management. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of worked the ranks up from working in youth development, in nonprofit management, to community organizing. And so now I'm with UNICEF USA, where I'm the community engagement associate for the whole Midwest. I cover a lot of territory. And so what I do at UNICEF is really just galvanize all the volunteers in the region. I lead community fundraisers, and I also work to implement the Child Friendly City Initiative. So my job now is more into child advocacy, child rights. And so I'm super excited about that because I meet with Congress people, I meet with different leaders in different communities, and I still am able to work with youth, which makes me so happy because I'm able to really coach them into leading some of these community fundraisers and teaching them about some of the initiatives that are going on across the whole world, because UNICEF is an international organization, one of the biggest humanitarian organizations. So
Yes, and I want you to tell us more about UNICEF because I don't think many of us know about or have heard. Maybe some of us have not. And how amazing to have a Latino leader there at UNICEF, at a great organization that's doing such impactful and meaningful work in our communities, and especially to have that representation. And I know we have a lot of folks in Chicago from La Villita. So let's hear from you and your backgrounds and things like that in terms of in the chat, because even our national board chair, Olga Camargo, is from La Vita as well. So we have a lot of great folks at ACE that are from there as well. So Paul, what else can you tell us in terms of your experience with, telling us more about UNICEF, but also your experience with ACE specifically and you getting to UNICEF. You are an alum from our Emerging Latino Leaders Program, and we're proud since 2018, right? You talked about that and how time has flown. How has the program experience and your connection to ACE impacted your career?
Yeah, ASE has a special place on my heart because of the program I participated in the Emerging Leaders, specifically in the nonprofit series in 2018, where I learned about volunteer management, where I learned about analyzing data reporting, and everything that fundraising, everything that encompasses really the ecosystem of a nonprofit. And in 2018, I was a program specialist at a nonprofit here in Chicago. By 2020, I became a program director. And really, I was able to, really map out my roadmap. And that was due because a lot of the skills that I learned during the program. And now, after becoming a program director, I made this switch to a bigger nonprofit because I wanted to really bring what I learned here locally and here in Chicago to more of a global organization. And so I made my shift to UNICEF. And so I'm super excited. I actually applied head on, with UNICEF. I knew no one there, but I made sure that I practiced, I prepped myself for the interviews. I had those follow-up questions. And now I'm part of the team. And so I'm still learning. I've only been there for over 4 months. So
congratulations.
I know, thank you. So it's super recent, yeah. So yeah, and that's what ASE did for me. I learned a lot. I was able to connect with folks there, and now I sit in the auxiliary board for ASE as well. So giving back to the same organization that did so much for me.
That's amazing. And UNICEF, is a huge organization. What can you tell us about UNICEF for those that are not aware of the work that this organization's doing?
Yeah, so UNICEF came out from the United Nations. So you have kind of two entities, right? You have UNICEF Global and you have UNICEF USA. I'm part of UNICEF USA. Then what really does is fundraise for UNICEF Global. But for the first time, UNICEF USA is looking inward and expanding their domestic programs. And because I have a strong background, that's why I was brought into the team, because now they're looking into really working and tackling child poverty and really advocating for children's rights. For example, one of the things I'm tasked to do is ending child marriage. I know, right? People don't think that, in here in Illinois and Michigan and some other states, child marriage is legal. So one of the things I'm tasked to do is ending that. And so really it's about building coalition, networking with folks that are able to help us push that agenda forward. And so, that's what I'm doing right now. The fundraising is still part of it, right? Because UNICEF needs to fundraise to be able to support some of the global disasters, like for example, the earthquake that happened in Afghanistan, the drought that's happening in the Horn in Africa. I mean, there's the floods in Pakistan, right? So there's a lot of disasters that are going on around the world that we're fundraising for. But at the same time, we want to make sure that every child here in the U.S. is protected. And so one of the things I'm doing is also educating folks about the Convention of the Rights of a Child. It's a lot, I know. But, if you ever have any questions, you can ask me these questions. You can always connect with me on the side. But that's something I'm charged to do here.
And thanks for making yourself available. You all can connect with Paul on LinkedIn and if you want to learn more, I think it's some noble work that's being done at UNICEF. I've always admired the organization for the work that's being done and the impact that it has. And so you're doing some amazing work there. And you mentioned, the fundraising piece. We always tell the team or any individuals that are a nonprofit, no matter what your title, your role is, right? We all are actively fundraising because you represent the organization. You're creating awareness, you're building connections. And so whatever organization you're a part of, right? You're part of that brand and that representation. So I love that you said that. And as a member, you talked a little bit, and for those of you that are tuning in, we want to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. But Paul, you talked a little bit about the Emerging Latino Leaders Program. And so those of you that are interested in learning more, please go to the ACE website. But there's another thing that you're continuing your engagement in your ACE journey with us is you're serving on our Chicago Auxiliary Board. And so can you share, what does that look like in terms of your interest in joining, but also your involvement as a board member?
Yeah, definitely. So right now we're active recruiting for the next fiscal year. So if you're interested in, make sure to reach out to me. You could also visit we have a whole website as well. So you could also reach out in the ASA website. But it's taking basically my career to the next level because we're working on some high level fundraisers. We're engaging different vendors and donors. And so recently this weekend, I led a call blitz where we fundraise, I believe $4,000 within the span of maybe 3 days. The whole call blitz was only in 40 minutes. And so, I was basically, it was only between 6 people. So only 6 of us was able to fundraise 4,000. Imagine if we had everyone there because we have over 30 members, right? So it was a great experience because we were able to really just engage our personal networks and really be so passionate and mission driven where we're able to pitch this idea, right? It's like, hey, you need to support ASE, and this is what ASE does. And this is how it impacted my life, and it is going to impact all the future lives, right? And we were able to do that. But we definitely also have a fundraiser coming up on November 4th. And I know we'll speak more about that, but we have our annual benefit at Fremont here in Chicago. So hope to see y'all there. Tickets are out for sale right now. But we really do a mixture of just networking and the board, right? We've gone to meet in person already. I know during COVID that was super hard, but we've been able to meet in person. Really volunteer as well. Our board is really dedicated to giving back to the community. So we volunteer with Valor and other organizations here in the city of Chicago. So we're actively always supporting each other in any endeavors because some of our members also share their events, their work events as well. And so we're out there to support them as well. So it's a really great network where we're able to support each other and develop our career. But the level of professionalism, I love it as well. It's super different there as well. So, and on top of that, we have the support of such a great organization like us always being involved and making sure that we have everything to be successful in our own fundraisers that we're leading.
Yeah, no, and it takes all of us to be able to move a mission as big as what we have, right? I think this year more than ever, this Hispanic Heritage Month, you're seeing a lot more awareness around the powerful economic contributions that Latinos bring to the table, and the need that to ensure that if we are bringing this community into more senior level, more influential positions of influence, then we're really having a ripple effect, not only across this community, but all communities, right? And I always say, right, Latino serving, but not Latino exclusive organization. So we welcome everyone to be part of this family, ensuring that we're providing that space, right? We're providing those opportunities, such as, serving on these auxiliary boards, which makes such a critical difference in your life to be able to get that experience, build those meaningful networks that continuously support you in your career. And so we do want to hear more. I saw it was dropped in the comments section. in terms of the benefit on November 4th. So make sure that you attend and check it out for more information. We have a question from Jorge. Paul, how do I do more to mentor young Latinos, Latinas for UNICEF, or in general with the Latino community?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Jorge. And so, one of the things that I've always made time for is really helping other folks reach their potential, right? If you ask me what's my purpose in life, my purpose has always been to elevate others and help others reach their potential. And that could be in any capacity, right? So, I usually always would during doing these community service opportunities, participating in the Ox board, I always make time to help others as well. One of the things I love to do is give back to the community by volunteering, even here in Little Village, and supporting young kids. With UNICEF, because I'm able to plug in with young people, I'm always actively always meeting with them and coaching them. So in whatever industry you're at, make sure you make that time, because they need it. Representation is super important, and it's something that many people don't think about because they look up to you. A lot of these kids do look up to you, and so I'm always supporting them in any way possible. Donating to some of their fundraisers, maybe, right? Or helping them, guide them to like how to enter the nonprofit world or the corporate world. Or like, I don't know if I want to go to college or not. It's like, hey, look at these traits, right? So really just making that personal plan with them is super important. And it takes time. It does take time. But as long as you're driven and you're passionate about it, it'll work out. And so I've always been able to do that. Some of the young kids I used to work with, I mean, are already in college. Some of them are already graduated and are into cybersecurity. They're making already way more money than I am, but I'm super happy for them because it's because I taught them how to code. I was able to really introduce them to that world, and so just me myself being actively also learning.
Yeah. And we can make sure in the comment section that we drop the links for the ASE, the auxiliary board, how to sign up for ASE so that you can have those opportunities to connect with youth and the volunteerism that's being done with the auxiliary board here or in some of our other cities. And then we can also drop in the comment section, right, UNICEF, right, Paul, in terms of if there's any information that we want to disseminate regarding how they can get involved there as well. And so we'll take one last question. This is from my colleague, Lisandra. How do you take care of your mental health working with so many serious and emotionally taxing issues within your work? That is a great question and something that we've been hearing quite a bit with that space, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, Lisandra, that's something I'm still working on. I read a great book. It's called Emotional Intelligence. And so it speaks about one thing that the book speaks about. It's about having your own board of directors, like your own personal board of directors, right? Who is the group of people that you could go to and just vent or just speak about an idea or an issue, and they're able to give you that very objective like point of view and feedback. That's one way that I've been able to really keep my sanity together, because
sometimes I call those individuals my venting committee.
Yeah, I mean, you can call it whatever it is, but you need that committee though. That's super important. And the wonderful thing about it is that committee, depending on the issue, will be different people, right?
Yeah.
So it's it's really important that you have that committee or board of directors, but also just taking time for yourself, right? Taking vacation, super important. Making sure that you do the things you love to do. One thing that I just got into is riding motorcycles. So I love to ride my motorcycle and just take my excursions to, South Dakota or Missouri and just do things that are able to not focus at work, right? Even
Love
if
it.
even as just walking down the block, sometimes you just have to get off this desk and just walk down the block to kind of free your mind.
Great tips. So you said the book, Emotional Intelligence, and making sure that you're taking time for self-care. We have one of our Chicago Oxford colleagues sharing the link for November 4th benefit. Make sure you sign up, go to the link to learn more. Great cause, lots of fun. right? That we're gonna have on November 4th, Paul.
Yes, lots of
A good
fun.
time. Okay.
Música, comida, drinks.
There
It's
you
gonna be.
go.
It's
There
gonna
you go.
be.
So get ready to join us. And Paul, we have to wrap up. What are you most hopeful for, or positive story?
Oh man, what I'm most hopeful for? I'm hopeful. Um, I'm hopeful for a lot of things, but for the most part, I'm hopeful to end child marriage here in Illinois. And making Chicago a child-friendly city. That's what I'm most hopeful for, because once that happens, then we put child rights in the forefront in every decision our government makes. So I'm really hopeful for that, and it takes a community, it takes all of us. So if you're interested about it, reach out to me. We can speak more about it, but it takes a community to build a young person.
Absolutely. Paul, thank you for what you do, for sharing and creating awareness on an issue that perhaps many of us are not too familiar with, that has a critical impact on our children's lives and their futures, right? So thank you so much, Paul. We appreciate your time. Y todos, hasta la próxima. Until next time, everyone.
Hasta la próxima. Thank you for having me.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.